Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Anna. I am a portrait photographer in the Chicagoland area, and today I decided to make a DIY V-flat. So the reason why I wanted to make a V-flat was because I don't actually have a studio, and I thought that it would be a good idea to have something that could be easily collapsible and also buildable for people who want to have some indoor shoots instead of some outdoor. The reason why I wanted to make my own instead of buying something professionally was because I wanted to give myself a challenge, as well as I don't have many clients at the moment, and this was a perfect opportunity for me to really challenge myself. So the first step that you have to do when you're getting a V-flat, or at least getting the materials for a V-flat, is you need foam boards. Now you're gonna need to make sure that all of the foam boards are the exact same length, and you're gonna have to make sure that you are buying some duct tape or some gaffer tape that is the same color. The reason why you wanna have gaffer tape, preferably over duct tape, is because this doesn't have any glossy finish to it. It's very matte, and it allows to make it easier when it comes to editing out those seams during Photoshop. I wanted to have a very large V-flat because usually when I do some studio shots, people always ask for full body instead of just portrait. So I figured having something that's a little bit taller and a little bit wider would be the most optimal for me. And I pretty much had to get about 12 boards and pretty much one roll of duct tape in order to finish this successfully. I actually had to go to 2 Walmarts and 1 Target in order to get all of the foam boards. It seems that everyone in quarantine just seems to be crafting and buying a lot of things at the store. So it took pretty much 3 trips for me to successfully find all 12 of the foam boards. So once you have gotten all of the foam boards, it's time to lay them all out. You're going to want to make sure that each foam board has about an inch separation between the two, because if the foam boards are too close to each other, they won't be able to fold and collapse perfectly, or if you have them too far, it won't be able to stand up by itself. So the way that I had my foam boards set up is I had 3 boards vertically over 4 boards horizontally, and that way both sides have the equal amount, so I can put the client directly into the middle. So once I had my foam board all set up correctly, I decided to test it out myself instead of using it with a client, just to make sure that everything is going smoothly and I figure out my mistakes for next time I go shooting. So pretty much what I had done with the foam board that I was using, it is a white foam board. So basically the best thing about V-flats is that on the white side, you're able to bounce light back in similar to a reflector, or if you have a V-flat that also has a black side to it, you're also allowed to have negative fill. And pretty much negative fill allows the ability to create dramatic shadows and make sure that there is no bleeding through any of the lights that you are using in the studio. So the setup that I had done is I only used 1 singular light and the rest is all natural light. So basically what you're gonna do with the V-flat is on one side, you're gonna make sure that it's directly across the window, like I have over here, to make sure that we want the background to be white. So that's gonna be right directly behind the subject, and you're gonna have it across the windows, so that way all of the light that's coming in is gonna be bouncing back onto the subject. On top of that, on the left-hand side, you're gonna make sure that it's directly facing the wall, because this way, when you have your light set up on the right side and it begins to flash, it's going to flash directly onto the wall and it's going to bounce back onto the subject. That way, if you have any shadows or if you have anything that is sort of distracting on the left-hand side, it's immediately going to be bounced and completely removed with the flash that's going to be filling in. Some tips that I have for you when you're creating your own V-flat is to be very careful with the foam boards. You can tell with the V-flat that I'm using, that I just used and started using today, is that it's kind of getting a little bit of dents and a little bit of cracks here and there, which basically is not going to be pretty optimal when you're using it with a client. So I would make sure that you're being very careful when it comes to using those foam boards. Another tip that I have for you when it comes to making your V-flat is, like I said before, make sure that there's enough between the 2 boards in order to be able to collapse both sides. The problem that I had with mine is that I started to get a little bit sloppy, and I realized that I did not have enough space between the 2 boards. So now when I decide to collapse it, it makes this weird like S shape. So basically what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to make sure that each board between the two has about 1 inch or 2 of space in order to flip it over. And if you're not completely sure if it does have enough space, I would say fully tape it. Make sure that you're flipping it on both sides and make sure it collapses, and then continue on to the next board. I'm curious to know if you guys have ever decided to create a V-flat or if you guys have purchased one. Let me know in the comments below. I do have the V-flat from V-flat World coming in, so if you guys are interested in a comparison video with my DIY versus the V-flat from V-flat World, let me know in the comments below. So another tip that I have for you when it comes to using the V-flat with a client or with a large subject, basically what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to make sure that this subject is pretty much covering all of the seams in the V-flat. This is gonna create a much faster process of editing and photoshopping of this photo rather than having the V-flat with a large seam in it and having to use the clone stab tool to get rid of it. I would just say save yourself some time and save yourself some money by positioning the person or positioning the thing right away near the seams, so that way you don't have to get rid of it later. But that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys really liked this video. I know that this is a little bit different than what I do normally. So if you guys are interested in DIY photography or DIY tips and tricks, let me know in the comments below. I also have playlists of behind the scenes of other photo shoots that I've done, as well as a travel playlist to see what I do in my free time. I've also created a playlist of movie posters and album covers that I'm sort of doing using colored gels. So if you guys are interested in that, the links will be all down below. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.